Hello guys, welcome back again to my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel name is Seeker of Wisdom, or Seeker of Wisdom Seeker. I should put that in my head, but anyways, Psychax just dropped a video which was a video I wanted to drop before. It was an idea of mine that I wanted to do before, but it beat me to it. And the way he breaks it down is way different than the way I'll break it down. And I think the way he breaks it down is much more understanding. Yeah, you can understand it more. So for this video, we're just going to watch the video together and I'll be reacting to it. And I hope you can go to his channel and also watch the video itself. The name of the video is "You Are Two Men: How to Accelerate Your Development." I would have named the video differently. I would have probably named it differently because that's not the way I title my videos. I think the way he titles his videos and the way I title my videos are similar but also different at the same time. But in this video, we're going to react to it and see what he says. And I'll just put my own 2 cents into it. I'll just put my own 2 cents into it and my own, and what it says. Pretty much, I'm predicting what he's going to say is gold because I've been watching his YouTube videos and what he's been saying has been gold, and he's been able to break it down way better than I would have done it at the moment. So yeah, let's just watch it. And I'll tell you what he says implements in my life.
I'm Dr. Orion Taraban, and this is Psychax, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is, you are two men. So today I'm going to address the guys out there, and I'm going to share with you a concept that has helped me personally to accelerate my growth as a man. It's this idea that every man is actually two men, in the sense that every man contains two radically different, irreducible selves, and that both of these selves deserve attention and cultivation, and that one is ignored to the detriment of both. Let's get to it. So every man is two men. We're going to call the first man the worldly man. This is the man who is involved in games of status, power, wealth, and women. These are social games or games that involve stuff or matter. And we can call the second man the spiritual.
The dark side of ADHD in men, waking up tired, task paralysis.
Man. This is the man who is involved in games of virtue, meaning, self-actualization, and enlightenment, broadly defined.
I just want to say, while watching this, I want you guys to comment down below, what type of man do you think you are? Are you the worldly man or are you the spiritual man? No judge. Well, I'm not here to judge you. I'm just trying to create a space of understanding so we can grow together and know how we can navigate the world together. I realized that I identify as more of the spiritual man, and I also realized that we need both sides. We need the spiritual man and we also need the worldly man. As me making these YouTube videos right now, you can say it's worldly in a sense, because I enjoy making these videos. I enjoy making videos that make you think and make you explore yourself as a human being or as a man or as a woman. But at the same time, I also want to get my numbers up. I want to get my money up. I want to get the worldly aspects up, and I think that is what is limiting me as of right now. But yeah, please comment which do you think you are, the worldly or the spiritual man?
These are psychological games or games that involve abstractions or spirit. The domain of the worldly man is the domain of matter, and the domain of the spiritual man is the domain of spirit. And everything you encounter can be classified in either one domain or the other. How? It's actually very simple. If you use it and have less of it, you're dealing with matter. On the other hand, if you use it and have more of it, you're dealing with spirit.
Now, that also, while he's saying this, it makes me think back to when I don't want to sound excited when something, not terrible, but something difficult happens. I get excited because I know that once I can overcome this, I become a better man, or it makes me stronger, it makes me better. I never really understood why people don't want to do it, but now that I'm thinking about it, I guess it just displays my way of thinking, whether you're the spiritual man or you're the worldly man. And as I'm going through life, I realize that the worldly person tends to not want things to be difficult, which is also good, because there's a part of me that also don't want things to be difficult. But there's a part of me that want things to be difficult, not because I like the difficult things, but I want to improve despite the difficult things. I want to become a better person. I want to become a better human being, a better husband, father. I'm not a husband or a father, but you get the point.
For example, if you spend $1, that is, if you use it, you will have one fewer dollar. So money is in the domain of the worldly man.
Also, I also realized the way the worldly man and the way the spiritual man moves are totally different. The worldly man derives his confidence from the things that he can achieve from the outside world, and the spiritual man derives his confidence from within. And also the way they chase girls is also different. It's like the worldly man tend to chase the validation of women, and the spiritual man tend to chase the validation of something within. Call that God, call that whatever, but sort of like the validation within. How does this make me better? How does this make me see things? So I just want to put that out there.
Conversely, if you use courage to face your fear, you will have a little more courage the next time you need it. So courage is in the domain of the spiritual man. Make sense? Now, these two selves are like railroad tracks. Close up, they seem to run on completely parallel tracks and even appear to be diametrically opposed to one another. However, as the tracks approach the horizon, or the limits of our vision, they meet at a single point of convergence. At the highest levels of comprehension, the two selves are really one. However, it is useful to consider them as separate and distinct until we arrive at that understanding. And that shouldn't be too difficult, because that's our everyday experience of them. Like, being rich doesn't make you good, and being good certainly doesn't make you rich. And this is something that I've always been wondering. You see, what you do exactly doesn't necessarily make you bad or good. Just because you're rich doesn't make you a good person. Just because you donate to charity doesn't necessarily make you a good person. Just because you do these outwardly things doesn't necessarily make you a good person. I realized from my spiritual way of life, well, not my spiritual way of life, it's just the spiritual way of life. I realized to walk through the spiritual path is basically a journey with yourself. There's no one to judge you but you. There's no one to judge you but God, if you believe in God. It's like a journey with yourself. It's a journey within yourself. Or that takes me to one of the topics that I want to make. There are two types of religion. The Abrahamic religion and I can't remember the other one. Basically, there are two types of religion. It's either you look up to the highest of goods and you want to become like God, or you look within and see the wickedness within your heart and you want to correct yourself. Those are the two types of religion that I believe there is. Hopefully, if it makes a video on it before I do, I'll react to it. But if it doesn't, I'll try my hardest and my best to explain the way I see it. Because in our everyday experience, the game of wealth has little, if anything, to do with the game of virtue. The rules and methods of the one are very different from the rules and methods of the other. Unfortunately, this means that, practically speaking, what is good for oneself is not necessarily good or may even be detrimental to the other. So what typically happens is that men develop very asymmetrically. They are out of balance. They either heavily invest in their worldly success or, less commonly, their spiritual success.
And that is me. I realize I know why I really invested in my spiritual success. It's because I got up broken when in my college, and I also realized that I was severely lacking in confidence within myself, and I also severely lacking in a lot of things, which made me go within myself and search the meaning of life and why does this happen, why does that happen, and what's the meaning of my life on earth. And it made me, well, I've always been like that, but that gave me the final, it was the final straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. So it pushes me towards that spiritual aspect of things. While a close friend of mine, he went through the worldly aspect of things, and he's making his own money, and now I'm sort of trying to go into the worldly aspect of things to also get my money and everything, the worldly aspect, you know what I mean? And he's also trying to get into the spiritual aspect of things. So I believe what he said before about there are two separate lines until they converge, until they meet at a point. So I'm not saying I'm a perfect guy, don't get me wrong. I'm not a perfect guy. I don't want to be saying all this thing on YouTube, but I still do what you know what I'm saying. I'm growing every single day. I'm growing. I'm not perfect. I'm not Jesus. I'm not Buddha. I'm not Allah. I'm none of those guys. I'm just me, just trying to be better. And I just realized that I'm more on the spiritual aspect of things than the worldly aspect of things. And I'm not saying the people that are worldly aspect of things are evil or none. It's like my friend. I truly believe he's a good guy. We've been friends for years, and he's a very good guy. He just relied more on the worldly aspect, and now he's trying to find God. And it's kind of like he said, you grow, and now you start to converge at some point. That's if growth is one of the things that you want to keep doing.
Those with worldly success can look down on the spiritual man as naive, idealistic, and soft-headed at best, and losers and failures at worst.
Yes, I realized when I was having this conversation, I was having a conversation with a close friend, actually a family member, but also a close friend. We were talking about women, and I asked him, like, why are you so fixated on women? Why are you not fixated on how to improve yourself? Like, I don't really understand. I was trying to understand. I wasn't trying to get at him. I was just trying to understand the way he thought. Probably there's somehow I can learn from it and develop myself from it. But the way he looked at me, and it's like I could tell in his eyes, it was looking at me like, you get no bitches. You know what I'm saying? You get no one. You get no one. And I don't really talk to a lot of women, so I guess in a sense it's right, but I don't really find it in me to be going out there to be talking to women. I love women. I love women with all my heart. You know what I'm saying? I love women with all my heart. But I'm not the type of guy to be looking for their validation. You know, so I'm not the type of guy to be counting the amount of women that I have sex with as a badge of honor. But I think it's something that some men would have to go through. You know, I think it's something that some men just have to go through for that development phase. You know, I'm not sure if I have to go through it. I haven't been through it, so probably something that I have to go through. I'm not too sure, but I'm always in the in search of bettering myself. So if that's something that I have to go through as well, then so be it. But it just doesn't entice me as much as of right now. Right now, I'm just trying to get my money up. Then probably that would entice me. But as of right now, I guess the worldly aspect of the things that I'm trying to grow is my influence on YouTube and TikTok, but also my money.
The worldly man is proud to have dispensed with his illusions and gains no small measure of confidence from his demonstrated ability to successfully compete in zero-sum games for specific goods. On the other hand, the spiritual man often possesses a measure of contempt, even if it skillfully disguises compassion, for the worldly man. He's immature and superficial, taken in by a...
Yes, this is something that I went through. I went through this for a short period of time. I was really annoyed. Like, why do you, especially when it came to women, I was thinking to myself, why do you want to go for that man when he doesn't really help you spiritually? He doesn't really help you. Like, I'm not trying to sound cocky or things, like I'm helping you like with knowledge. I'm helping you with like the things that I use that would work on me. I'm trying to help use it on you that I know would work on you. But it seems like most people don't really appreciate that. You know, I don't think it's something that majority of people appreciate, because it's not easy to count. It's not easy. Well, this is my hypothesis of it anyways. It's not easy to look back upon and be like, oh my gosh, they did this for me, did that for me. But that's how I show love. That's how I show care, is by sharing the knowledge that works for me, or sharing the knowledge that I believe would work for you, and it's up to you to use it or not. This is not force. I'm not forcing you to be something or someone that you don't want to be, or something that you're not. So this is just some things that helped me, and I believe will help you too. And that's how I show love and care. And apparently that's always been a problem of mine, that people like care and love in a certain way, not in a way that I like it. So I must be able to love them and care for them the way that they want to be cared for, which is buying them things, giving them money, which is something that I didn't want to do because my money wasn't up, but now it would be. So something I would definitely be looking into.
Appearances and driven by crass materialism. Unlike the spiritual man, the worldly man has no conception of what is truly important in life and has been corrupted by venality and pleasure. And though it may be difficult for him to admit it, the spiritual man is often envious of the worldly man for enjoying the success that he believes would be his just deserts in a fair...
Yeah, envious. Would I say I've been envious? I suppose I've been envious a little bit, but I don't think it's been it got prolonged. I don't think it got prolonged. As soon as I felt envy, well, I won't say as soon as I noticed it, I sort of looked into it. Like I said, I'm more spiritual than I'm worldly. I don't think anyone's just spiritual and not an ounce of worldliness in him, or no ounce of worldliness in her. That's always it's like a scale. I think it's like a what's called. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a it's like a scale. It's like you might be 60% worldly, but you'll be 40% spiritual, or like 40% spiritual, 60% worldly, or like 50%, 20% worldly. You get what I mean? So I believe I'm way more spiritual than I am worldly, which is I'm starting to understand that about myself.
An equitable world. If you're interested in taking your understanding to the next level, I would encourage you to check out the Captain's Quarters, my members-only self-improvement community. Your monthly membership will get you access to a cadre of like-minded, supportive individuals, bi-monthly group consultation sessions hosted by yours truly, and exclusive content that you won't find anywhere else. Click the link in the description for more information. Hope to see you aboard.
We moved to Checker in 2018. We wanted speed, accuracy, tech capabilities, a lot of things that...
Now, I'm here to tell you that this antagonism between the worldly man and the spiritual man is misplaced and dangerous. The two selves actually support each other and at the highest levels merge into one. For instance, a man who has overly developed his worldly self at the expense of his spiritual self is unlikely to enjoy sustained success. This is because it's virtues like prudence and wisdom that keep a life of worldly success from going completely off the rails. Failing to cultivate the spiritual self is ultimately self-defeating for the worldly self. Why go through the trouble of conquering the castle if you can't keep it? By the same token, what is the point of becoming good if you lack the power and influence to do anything about it? Failing to cultivate the worldly self is ultimately self-defeating for the spiritual self who would like to see some measure of positive change in the world, whether it's healing or teaching others or righting some intractable social wrong. Spiritual development without...
I do definitely agree with him. It's like, it's something that I also realized. Apologies if this is pissing you off because I'm pausing it all the time. But it's something that I also realized that I need to get my money up. You know what I'm saying? You can't live in the world and not be worldly to some extent. You know, you just can't. That's why from my perspective, like I said, you just can't. So I'm starting to develop my worldly aspect of things, which, like I said, it doesn't really give me much of a room, or much of a... I don't wake up every day to be, okay, let's do this worldly. Like, it's something that I have to develop. It's something that I have to get at every single time. And yeah, I realized that you need money because I do want to take care of my parents. I do want to take care of my family. I don't have a family of my own per se. I don't have a child or wife or a girlfriend. No, I'm not necessarily looking for one. No, not right now at least. But I do want the best things in life for myself, and you get there through the worldly aspect of things. I mean, you can get there through the spiritual aspect of things, I guess, but it's still worldly because you have to implement a worldly aspect of things in it to get the money. But yeah,
worldly influence is kind of solipsistic and masturbatory. It believes that it's good to cultivate good for its own sake, but that's not ultimately what good is good for. If we want our world to look different, we need to imbue good men with worldly power and authority. But that depends, first and foremost, on the willingness of good men to not turn their backs on that domain. There are a lot of spiritual virtues, things like perseverance, trustworthiness, and discernment, that facilitate worldly success, and many ways in which worldly concerns like attractiveness, aesthetics, and feasibility can support spiritual growth. So the two selves actually support each other, like I've said. However, their differences are also extremely useful. Why? Well, because the two selves are so different, because their domains of action are so separate, then no matter what life throws at you, you can use it as an opportunity to strengthen either the worldly man or the spiritual man.
I also want to add to what he was saying about the worldly aspect of things and the spiritual aspect of things. If you notice, if you ask a woman, what do you want? Not a woman, just the average woman. But what do you want from a man? It's always the worldly aspect of things. And I believe that's all they are expecting from the man, and probably also from themselves. Is the worldly aspect of it. Money, when they talk about provision, when it comes to providing someone, you can provide someone with knowledge, wisdom, understanding. You can provide not someone with a different way of looking at life, which will benefit them in a longer run. You can provide people with a different plethora of things, not just money. But when it comes to provision, it seems the worldly way of looking at it seems to be that's how people just are stuck in. Men and women, the average man and the average woman. It's like, what do you expect from a woman? What do you expect from your husband or wife or girlfriend or boyfriend? It's always stuck in that worldly aspect of seeing things, and that really frustrates me. Because I am more than that. I can give you more than that, and I also want more than that. So I always feel frustrated, yes, and I also feel disappointed when I hear things like that. It's like, what else are you going to give me except money? What else are you going to give me except loyalty? Or yeah.
Like no opportunity, no experience, no event exists outside of the domain of either one or the other. This means that literally everything that you experience can be grist for the mill. Nothing is wasted, and everything can fuel your development one way or another. The idea is to switch from one mode to the other as circumstances dictate. When you're dealing with stuff, with things that decrease with use, it's a good idea to prioritize the worldly man. And the worldly man wants things to be easy. Why?
Like I said, it's also something I realized. I don't know why that is. I think he's going to explain. But I guess I don't know, it's just people just want things to be easy. They have this, which is also one of the videos I'm going to make, fantasy. I'm going to make a video on fantasy and reality, and why we all need a bit of fantasy in us and a bit of reality in us, and why things have become so fantasized. The relationship is I don't even know if that's a word, but stay with me here. Fantasization of love, fantasization of your parents, your beloved. It's getting sickening to me now. I want to put a little dose of reality in it, which is something that he does spectacularly well. So you should check his channel, Psychax.
Because ease is a sign that things are working the way they are supposed to work. The problems come for the worldly man when things are difficult, and it's his work to transform ineffectiveness, inefficiency, and obstruction into effectiveness, efficiency, and progress. Once this occurs, the worldly man doubles down on what is working, as this will serve as the source of even more worldly success. Too much difficulty cripples the worldly man. On the other hand, when you're dealing with spirit, with things that increase with use.
I see now. I see. That's why when things are difficult in the world, things like churches, the Buddhas, or the mosque seem to be very popularized. It seems to be very at the A front of the game, because that's when things are difficult. That's when things are down. And people like that tend to make things simpler and easier for everyone else. So the worldly man pushes it forward from there on. It's like a cycle. It's like the worldly man and the spiritual man. It's like the walk in hand. It's like yin and yang, so to speak. I don't know who is yin and who is yang. I guess the worldly man would be the yang. I'm pretty sure the yang is the dark part. If not, then yin. Then the worldly man is probably the dark aspect of it, and the spiritual man is probably the light aspect of it. I'm pretty sure which would link me back to the video I'm going to make afterwards, which would be the two the two religions there is, looking up to the stars or looking within. And even realize the stars are always bright. You know, if you look at the imams, I'm pretty sure they always have a ring behind their head, like a light behind like their head, like a sun or so. You know, that's probably why Jesus is called the Son of God. And in Islamic culture, that's always probably, and I know there is. I was raised Muslim, but I definitely need to read the Quran and know more about the religion of Islam to speak a bit more of it. I'm not professional at it at all, but I'm just trying to link things. So from what he's saying, to what I understand, it's like the worldly man and also the spiritual man working hand to hand. When things get difficult, the spiritual man steps in, makes it simpler. When things are simple, the worldly man comes in and multiplies it. You know, he pushes things forward until it's difficult again. So the spiritual man takes it, breaks it down, and the worldly man comes in again, pushes it forward to the next bottleneck. So that's it. So the worldly man pushes it to the next bottleneck. The spiritual man breaks the bottlenecks down to show that we still have room to grow, and the worldly man pushes it forward a little bit more. And yeah, I see.
It's a good idea to prioritize the spiritual man. And the spiritual man wants things to be hard. Why? Because difficulty is a sign that there is an opportunity to strengthen and preserve the virtuous self. The problems come for the spiritual man when things are too easy. And it's his work to seek out challenge and difficulty.
And that's when he steps back. He steps back when things are too easy. So the worldly man steps in to push his things forward to the next level. And then he steps back when things are too hard. And the spiritual, oh my God, this word is so beautiful. It's like everything works in tandem. You know, I don't even know what the word tandem means, but I believe I used it in the right sentence. But everything works in like hand to hand. You know, the evil, the good, the devil, the angel, God, the demon, everything so works in hand to hand, and it's just so perfectly in sync with each other. Well, we continue.
To stimulate growth and self-development. This creates a virtuous cycle in which the spiritual man is increasingly emboldened to overcome even more difficulty and contend with even more powerful adversaries. Too much comfort cripples the spiritual man. If your life is nothing but difficulty and obstruction, it's going to be very hard to make progress from a worldly perspective. It takes time and consistency for the harvest to come in. But by the same token, if your life is nothing but ease and comfort, it's going to be very hard to develop yourself from a spiritual perspective. A sword rusts in its scabbard. Fortunately,
I think that's why I'm finding it. I haven't blown up yet about when he said about the spiritual aspect of things. When things get easy, you know, you find it difficult for yourself to move forward. So I definitely see an aspect of that, because when things are easy, I tend to withdraw back a little bit, or I might just be lazy. Either one of the two. Either I withdraw back a little bit because it's too easy, or I'm just lazy and I'm ready to give up on life. I don't know. I'm just finding myself as you are finding yourself right now. So I don't know which it is.
You can do both as the situation warrants. When things are easy, become the worldly man and double down on what is working. And when things are hard, become the spiritual man and lean into the difficulty. In this way, no experience is wasted, and you will be able to accelerate your growth considerably. You will also increasingly understand that the two men are one man as the selves converge in their highest expressions.
Oof, this guy is brilliant. Such a brilliant breakdown of such complicated matters. Oh my god, I want to make a video like this. I would love to break down the different aspects of the two religions. The looking up at the stars and looking within. I would love. I'll put my best. I'll do the best I can. I'll probably, in a few years, when I get really, really better, I'll probably visit back my old videos and break them down even further. Well, we'll see.
What do you think? Does this fit with your own experience? Let me know in the comments below. And please send this episode to someone who you think might benefit from its message, as it's word of mouth referrals like this that really help to make the channel grow. Anyone looking to join my free weekly newsletter or book a paid consultation can do so on my website. There's also my book, The Value of Others, and my member community, The Captain's Quarters. The links to everything are in the description below. I encourage you to check them out. There's a lot of great information in all of these sources. As always, I appreciate your support, and thank you for listening.
Yeah, that was such a beautiful video. That was a brilliantly made video. As always, Psychax, Brian. That was such a beautiful and brilliantly made video. And please do share to friends and family. Share my video to friends and family too, because I'm trying to get paid. I'm trying to be more of a worldly man. I'm trying to, push things in my life forward. And when it gets difficult, be spiritual and forward spiritual. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, please share this to friends and family. Support the YouTube channel and comment. Which do you think you are as of right now? Are you the worldly man or are you the spiritual man? See you in the next video. Bye.